Live on Facebook right now. Okay.
Bobby.
Yeah. There's there
we go.
Few pages for linking up to. So here we go to Facebook Live, about 15 minutes of a dry run on another page. So yeah, so here we go to again, a happy week 64 virtual tasting running of the bowls of our 3 amazing reserve Malbecs. We've got 2017 reserve Malbec, we've got 2012 reserve Malbec, and 2009. Once again, we have a great lineup tonight of our owner, Dr. Richard Becker. We've got his sons with him as well. We have Will Becker, we have Dr. Joe Becker, and we have our amazing winemaker, John Leahy, and then myself, Bobby Totten, the assistant tasting room coordinator here. So yeah, we're gonna, I guess, gear it back up and do another run with this beautiful wine here.
Absolutely. Well, you know, there's nothing like thinking you're on Facebook Live.
Yes.
Oh, so will you kick us off again, sir?
I will. I would just quickly like to say it's just wonderful that, you know, to have my family be vaccinated, to be able to be in the same room. I live in Massachusetts and I haven't been able to fly or see them until now. So this is very special for me to get to see everybody. And Joe, I look forward to getting down to Texas in a couple of weeks and seeing you too. And maybe getting a golf club, but you'll have to teach it. But anyway, so the 17 is wonderful. It's young and it's going to get better and better and better. I think this is, you know, got room to grow. But right now there's great big fruit, a lot of big red fruit notes, sort of strawberry, cherry, a little bit of coffee and chocolate on the nose, and even just a hint of vanilla from the oak as well. And then on the finish for me, that's where I sort of feel, I think it has a nice sort of full finish. I'll let other people talk about that, but it feels like an Argentine Malbec, very much to me like when we were in Archibald Ferrer, and I'm probably saying that wrong, but down in Mendoza, it was a lot of red fruit and very, very fruit forward, and it feels like that to me. And I think when we get to the 09, that feels a lot more like a Malbec from France, from the Cahors, which has a lot more leather and salad and umami. Leather and umami on the notes. But this is, I think, is very lovely, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, so we're done now that Will went through all 3. No. Robert, what's your opinion of the 2017?
Well, I like Will's description, and especially actually the leather notes, the chocolate notes, and I can't wait to hear what umami's actually tastes like later on. But it's just a wonderful full-bodied wine, great fruit, and I was like, you know, a great acid too, which I think is, you know, is really helps the structure, obviously, and it's terrific.
He's always been an acid man.
Yeah, an acid man.
Okay, Carolyn, you're up, and you have to share that pastry again.
Okay, let's roll this. Let's roll this. Look at that texture. It's flaking right in front of your very eyes, John.
Yes, it is.
It's also
Makes me happier the second time around.
And I want you to know that I've had tomorrow will be my 3rd day of roll and high class classes here. You had to register early to get in, or be a family member.
I see.
But it's been a lot of fun.
Well, as usual, I'm a day late, $1 short.
But I just wanted to, you know, show you in a tangible way
that they weren't lying.
And I'm really enjoying this wine. You know, the big fruit bomb on the front, and then it follows through with the spice, kind of an explosion of good flavors, and hopes of a much bigger wine in the future. So looking forward to tasting it later. Should I live that long?
I think you will.
Not if I eat those pastries.
Well, you send them my way. I'll save you. So Doc, what do you think?
Well, it's wonderfully balanced, and I'm surprised by the strawberry notes in this, John. When I certainly I get the coffee and so the other chocolate, the dark chocolate that I expect in Malbec, but this has a strawberry character that surprises me. It's really delicious. They're fun to watch this age.
Yeah, this it's going to age very well. So it is vineyard designate. So for those of you just joining us, we're starting off with the 2017 Malbec Reserve, so the Talent Vineyards. So it is, yeah, it's Drew Talents, and I'm going to pull up the notes here for a second. So I'm going to let Bobby wax eloquent on the 17 while I search my notes. Bobby.
So I've thought this is a great wine. I think we released it right about February of last year, March of last year. And it was a little while in between the two vintages of Malbec, because I think it was the 2015 that was previous vintage before this. But this one is a really beautiful wine. Definitely get that strawberry, Dr. Becker. It's just really prevalent on the nose. The cherry notes, a little bit of that tobacco characteristic coming out on the nose as well. Then on the palate, I almost get like it's like a kind of hints of like watermelon characteristic, just kind of sneaks in there, and
Yes.
That's true.
and it's just a beautiful wine. I'm really excited. And that Tannat, I mean, just that finish. I mean, you get that tannin structure from the Tannat right on the finish, which is just beautiful.
I think one way to frame this conversation that Will was alluding to is Malbec, we've talked about a number of times on these discussions, has kind of an interesting journey. We do talk about it being somewhat grown in Bordeaux, but its major home is Cahors, which is kind of to the south and east of Bordeaux, north of Toulouse. And what's interesting is we talk about most of the Bordeaux vineyards being wiped out by the freeze in 1956, but the Malbec that was planted in Argentina in the 19th century, most of the cuttings actually came from Bordeaux and not so much from Cahors. And so a lot of the when they talk about selection marcial, where they talk about how grapes are brought from clippings from older vineyards, we're not isolating down to one clone. The grapes in Argentina are smaller. We talk about riper tannins, and so the description, like the broad descriptions that you read about, is that Argentina, you get the kind of almost a violet fruit structure. Cahors, you get sort of more what we think about the typical Bordeaux, the tobacco, and so forth. And so I think it's interesting just to sort of think two things I think to think about are how that's expressing in our wines as we go through. And I'm just curious if what we know about the clones of Malbec that are planted in, say, Drew's vineyard.
We've asked him, and I don't know if he knows the exact clone or not. The newer planting, which this is not from the newer planting, this is from the older planting. He's not sure of the clonal varietal. The newer plantings, we've got the clones on there, but because this particular blend is, of course, Talents Malbec. It's got a little bit of Talents Merlot and a little bit of Talents Tannat in there. So when you look at it that way, and there is just a touch of his Petit Verdot in there for the background. So that Petit Verdot is actually where I think that strong strawberry note comes from.
Right.
You put in Petit Verdot got in? How did that happen?
Because 10 years ago, Will, somebody kept saying, "What about Petit Verdot? Have you ever tried it with Petit Verdot?"
We distracted John, and one of us poured some in.
That's exactly what happened. But so I don't know where the older block of Malbec, what clone that is. So
John, can you speak quickly when we did an Argentine wine celebration many years ago in San Antonio? I asked them about the difference between the French clone and the Argentine clone, and they didn't want to go into it, but they did say there was a big difference. And then some of it is terroir, but a lot of it is that they're working with clones that aren't that similar. Do you have thoughts about that?
Well, I think one of the things too, Will, is a lot of the Malbecs do enjoy a fair amount of Petit Verdot in the Argentine Malbecs. They love Petit Verdot as a blender, but they also like Bonarda, and a lot of them have a small degree of Bonarda in there. So, and some of those older vineyards are interplanted.
Okay.
So, and that's, you know, it's kind of hard to know if it's solid Malbec. Some of the vineyards that are, 40, 50 years old or even older, it's hard to know if they're purely Malbec or if they got some other subclones in there, like the Bonarda may have been interplanted, even some Charbonneau down there.
And I do think it's interesting. One other point I would make about the lineage of Malbec is that, there's a common French rumor that it was named after a Hungarian peasant who was bringing plantings, but when they've actually looked at the genetics, it seems to originate from a clone from northern Burgundy called Cote, C-O-T, with an accent chapeau over the O, which makes more sense in terms of what we taste and so forth.
The fact that you know what that little symbol is named is impressive. The fact that you can say it that quickly is awesome.
It's called
It's a hat. It's the accent chapeau. It's the hat. It's the hat. It usually means that
I call it the
that there was an S removed when it went from Latin to French.
Wow. Okay, that's next level. Stop it, Joe.
But I wanted to, one thing that Joe mentioned is that we were in Ashenal for our and looking at their 100-year-old vines. At that point they were up and covered with grapes. The grapes are, gosh, significantly smaller than the Malbec clones that I've seen in California and the ones that we grow.
Right.
They're clearly different, and so maybe just the juice to skin ratio is different, and that may have something to do with what we. It must have a lot to do with what we're tasting.
Well, I think so, and I especially, you're talking about Cahors. I mean, there's that the Tannats. They're using two very tannic varietals together. Where the New World, when you talk about Argentina, the Argentine wines are using some softer varietals. I mean, yes, there's tannins from the Petit Verdot, but that Petit Verdot hits you right in the middle of the palate just by itself. So it's not tannic, it's got some tannins in it, but it's certainly got a lot of dark fruit to it. And then in California, you're right, Doc, a lot of the Malbec there is a larger berry. You've got to hunt and peck around to find some of those clones with smaller berry. And sometimes I think that does dilute it. I really do. I think Malbec gets an unfair shake in the New World because of that. We've got Drews. The older stuff is not that big. I mean, it's not tiny berries, but those berries are not that big.
Right.
The newer stuff's a lot bigger berry than his older planting. So we've got a nice little bit there, and then
It's exciting to know that we're going to taste the 17 and the 09, which is also from Drew's vineyard at the end of this. So it'd be interesting to keep them together and taste them side by side when that comes out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Would anybody else like to add anything about the 17 before we go on to the 12?
Maybe you can, John, could you sort of explain the role of Tannat or the Petit Verdot in blending with the Malbec? What do those bring to the party?
Well, as a general rule of thumb, I look to Tannat if I think we need a little bit of structural help. If I don't think the tannins are developed enough, or if there are too many green tannins, I want some of those heavier tannins, then we'll look to Tannat for that. On the years that we get it, we don't get Tannat every year, which is unfortunate. We just started getting it in 2017 was the first year. So our vines are still fairly young. It's starting to produce evenly now, which means more years than not, we will have it as long as Mother Nature cooperates. As far as Petit Verdot goes, I like that for mid-palate oomph and the rounding of rough edges. I also like it for the fruit. Petit Verdot is very dry, so people think it's just a tannic monster, and it's got developed tannins, but when you've got undeveloped heavy tannins, you feel like your enamel on your teeth needs to be scratched. When it's really dry and just on the tongue dry, those tannins are very well developed, but that's carrying the fruit. That's where you get your antioxidant protection for the wine. You get your color stability. You get these stacked tannins and mixed in there with the anthocyanins, the coloring of the wine. And young wines, they're very unstable. They're kind of sideways stacked if you look at them. And what you do with that blend is you something with a lot of tannin, you'll bring those together and you'll make them a little more vertical for color stability. You get longevity on the palate, and then that allows the fruit to come forward. Those tannins have scrubbed the oxygen out, the extra oxygen molecule out of your blend, and that fruit suddenly comes forward. Your terpenes open up, and it's like a whole world of flowers suddenly. So,
And then you call your doctor if you have the issue.
wow. Really?
That was
So, hey,
fabulous. I cut Joe off. I'm sorry. No, it was fabulous. All for a joke. No, thank you so much.
yeah.
That was nice, John.
Glad the two of you could set me up. Okay, so hey, just so you know, Joe, you can get for $280 from Science Warehouse an anatomically correct full-size human skeleton made in plastic resin.
I'm on it.
And when you put it in the bottom of the hole that your septic guy had just dug, he gets a little freaky.
Sounds like dollars well spent.
I thought so. Okay, on to the 2012. Joe, would you like to lead us off on this?
You bet.
It's good. Different nose.
This to me, I'm getting a little bit of perfume on the nose. Actually, I get a little bit of the violet that I was just talking about. This is a different wine. It's interesting. It feels like a different style than the one we just had. And you're smiling, John. You must be hiding something.
I'm not. It is. Sorry. The 2012 makes me very happy.
Yeah,
It should.
It's very rich. It's nice fruit, full bodied notes on the mid palate.
That is from Jet Wilmot. Yeah.
Most of the fruit is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't quite enough to call it vineyard designate, so we put his name on the back. It was just shy of being vineyard designate.
And this would have been your first Malbec.
Yes,
right?
this was 2012 was the first year I made wine at Becker.
Can we go to Aunt Carolyn for this?
Yes, absolutely.
I have a smile on my face because the maturity that's coming across the palate, and yet the fruit is still there, is just delightful. It's a very well-made wine, and will just continue to improve and last. So, good job, first year, John.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I always feel guilty about taking all the kudos, though, because it's never just one person that's involved. But
Delicious.
unless something went wrong and then suddenly it's all my fault, I don't understand
How that works.
So Bobby, what do you think, sir?
Oh, I mean, I agree with Joe that violet, and then I get some of that almost like a leather characteristic right on the nose. Get some hints of raspberry. And then on the palate, it just, I mean, it doesn't just drop off, it does linger. I mean, it stays with you and it just carries. I'm enjoying the finish, how it's just staying and lingering, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful wine. Definitely getting that dark chocolate right there. A little bit of smoke characteristic as well.
Yep.
It's an amazing wine.
Yeah. So we had Robert. What do you think?
I really like this. I find the fruit less pronounced, which actually I think is good. I do. Someone mentioned smoke. It does have that kind of smoky, that sort of smoky approach, and I really love the tannins and the dark chocolatey kind of mid palate action going on. This is really this knocks me out. I think it's fabulous. I mean, I think to Carolyn's point, I think it will be interesting to see what the 2017 is like in 5 years, because I think certainly it's heading in that direction. But This, I think, is really good.
So Doc?
I love the violet character, violaceous, aromatic, and also taste. I don't know what violets taste like, but when you smell this and then taste it, you imagine that's the taste that should be there. And you know, this is not in the direction of the strawberry character of the 17, but it's a more complex look, kind of as Bobby said, some leather notes, some kind of a little bit of hummus and forest floor, that kind of stuff that you see in Bordeaux.
So you've tasted if we haven't tasted violet, you've tasted forest floor?
At the same time, yes. I think I lost a fight in the 5th grade. But,
Telling you what, your family picnic sound like a hoot.
anyway,
Yeah, I get a little bit of mincemeat on the very edge of the nose.
That's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the blend on this is, it's 72% Jets Malbec on there. And then we've got 4% of the Steve Newsom Merlot in there. We've got 6% Talent Malbec. We've got 5% Becker Petit Syrah. And then we've got 13% Becker Malbec in the 2012.
John, so I think this wine is really balanced. I think it has both fruit and sort of an earthiness and the leather that my father spoke about. And I think Bobby mentioned also. I feel like this is right in its wheelhouse. Do you think this is at its peak, or are we still 2 years away? I think this is in very nice balance.
Well,
How's your wine?
the meniscus is just barely starting to have that orange brown tint to it. So the age is there. It's slightly oxidized. I would think that if the bottles have been very well kept, I think they will keep for several more years. But I do think we're hitting our peak.
I think this is in the wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there a, I mean, are Malbecs from the 60s collected or prized, or, I mean, does that wines don't last that long?
Why does it last that long?
No. Are Malbecs wines that last like?
How should this age?
So,
what kind of longevity?
I don't think Malbecs have the same age potential as like a Cabernet or a Chardonnay.
That's what I was asking.
so interestingly, I obviously I'm a lot of what I read is from Oz Clarke's book, and he talks about that the varietal that developed in Argentina lasts a lot longer than the wines that they were producing from Cahors, like significantly longer. And I'm not sure why that is. Maybe more tannin structure. I don't know.
Right. Hold on, guys. I've got to mute.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Somebody just came up to the door and rang the doorbell. And I have a wonderful person that I live with, my wife, Jody, who I'm shooting across the, she's like, oh, don't ring the doorbell. So I don't know why, but why the Cahors wouldn't last longer than they do, because when you see how they blend those, you would almost assume with that balance of alcohol and that really good tannic structure, they should last, a couple of decades at least. Tannat is just a tannic monster, and that's a significant portion of the blend.
Sure.
Yeah. But here, our tannins, so in 2012, two overriding principles there were that I was told to try to make the most concentrated wines with the Texas fruit. So when it came to blending, and this, these blends would have been 18 to 24 months after the harvest. So, 2 years into that, and understanding, being able to go back and see what we made in 12 and coming to a 3-year vintage understanding of the fruit from those vineyards helped a lot in creating this blend. So I don't see why it wouldn't last a few more years. Doc, what's your opinion on the age and the ageability of Malbec in general? And
I've had some older Malbecs in Argentina, and they held up pretty well. I'm thinking maybe 20 years old in some of the properties over there, and that was 10 years ago at least.
Okay.
I'll
Hold on.
tell you what really holds up
Can you
well.
take over for just a second? I've got to mute.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So
Go ahead, wait, Dad, I wanted to hear the last of your thought.
He's got a mouthful
I've
of
got a
turnover.
mouthful, I'm sorry.
Someone's going.
Oh, yeah.
a turnover.
The turnover is aging nicely.
Yeah.
It won't see another day though, so not like the one.
No, not at all. So, Dr. Becker, you were mentioning about the, I guess, the ageability of Argentinian Malbec, Argentine, versus the Cahors area.
And I've not had any older Cahors Malbec. I have had, I guess what would now be 30 or 40-year-old Argentine, and it was very, very good, but it wasn't aging the same way that a great Bordeaux does. The sort reaches its peak at 30 years or 40 years. It was just still very good, but you could tell that it was probably near its peak.
When we were at Archibald Ferrer with my dad and my mom and my wife Emma, they brought out a 1970 Malbec, and it had amazing strawberry notes. It still had good structure. That would have been, a 50-year-old Malbec, but I don't know that they all aged that way. That was a special treat that the winemaker was very proud of. Actually, the head winemaker was away, and the assistant winemaker wanted to try it, so she brought it out. And we got it. So when John's away, you guys should go into that library and just go nuts.
Whoa. I am back and I can hear that.
But it was a real treat, and that actually had amazing red notes still on it at 50 years old. But I think you're right about how they age pop. I think that was a special exception. So,
And John, the other question I had was, do you remember how long you barrel aged this? Was this mostly American oak?
Yeah, so I do, Joe, and actually the Jets was almost all American oak aged.
Okay.
And
Okay.
our Malbec was mostly neutral, and of the 30% new, almost 90% of that was French oak. And that was after I took some of the initial fermentation of the Viognier and Sauvignon Blanc out of French 2 months after, or a month and a half after fermentation, put it in neutral for aging, and then used the newer French on the red. And then we had brand new French on the red. And so that smokiness that you're getting came from our Petite Syrah from the oak. I used a couple of heavy toasted head American oak barrels on that Petite Syrah that year. Because Petite can really hold up to that smoke. And that offered, knowing that we were going to use that for blending, or projecting that I was going to use that for blending. So I used some of that smoky quality for a couple of things. So that also comes through actually in one of the La Quattro Stagionis from that year, because we used a little Petite Syrah with our Merlot. So
Do you age Malbec time-wise any lesser, more than any red wines typically, or does it varies?
Yeah, typically, if the Malbec comes in light colored that year and we saignee a fair amount, I'll age it shorter. It's an earlier to market red, maybe maximum 18 months. But some of the more concentrated Malbecs, like generally Drus, some of our younger Malbec from our vineyard, those will hit. I don't have a problem aging those for 28 to 32 months at all.
So how does Brenda's vineyard compare to Drew's vineyard with the Malbec?
Brenda's vineyard,
Good question.
her Malbec's a heavier producer, and it's a slightly larger berry. It's not huge, but it is. It's a little bit bigger than Drew's older stuff. Now, Drew's younger stuff and hers are very similar as far as size goes, but Brenda's got some magic. Her Malbec is just very tasty. It tends to be a little more green tannin around the edge young, and takes a little longer to age through that. Where Drew's comes on a little quicker. After about 14 months, you can start seeing the maturity in Drew's Malbec, and about 16 to 18 months for the Canada's Malbec.
And do you think that would be regarding the weather, like how it gets a little cooler up there and it's a little warmer earlier down here?
I'm sure that plays a part in it. I really think it's got to do with crop load and the vigor of the vine.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody looks so very serious. I think you guys need to drink a little more wine, or maybe eat 2 or 3 more of those pastries and make
Your stand-up routine's not what you might think.
right. Great. The giant hook is waiting on the side. Okay, so we've got. Okay, somebody said, John, tell me again when you declare a barrel as neutral. Carl, that joke's getting old, buddy. A couple of years ago during a conference, I may have said when somebody asked, how do you know when a barrel's neutral? And I said, when it flies the Swiss flag. So. Okay, so are we ready to go into the 09?
Yeah.
Because I'm really looking forward to this.
It's tasty.
Unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. I mean,
Start with Carolyn.
yeah,
on this
start
one.
with me. I'm
Yeah,
all,
strong opinion.
I'm all opinionated on this. So what I really got, I really got from your statement about mincemeat, which is something that we've always had in our family, and then I made my own. In the 12, that was absolutely spot on. This has just kind of, the 9 has just made the leap to the 17. I don't know if that's you, but amazing amount of fruit. It's one of the best wines I think I've ever had.
Well, I think it's just because the previous winemaker got lucky. You know, even a broken clock right twice a day. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it's just like, you know, mature cherries. If you took the fruit that you use in mince and parsed them out, that's what you'd come up with. You know, it's wonderful. It does not taste like an, you know, what you would think an 09 in terms of fruits should taste like. That's my opinion, and now I'm turning it over to the.
Oh, I bet
your brother.
Your opinion is actually spot on, Carolyn. It's
Robert, get on that.
so, Robert, what do you think? And I do need to know: does it go well with pastry?
We're about to find out. No, Will has secured the last turnover.
Check this out. Will.
I bet this is going to go really well with it.
I try really hard to keep a nice, you know, sort of palette over here of palette cleansers and things. And I usually like to sit alone when I do these, and they ate an entire pastry around me. I like to say that it's buttery and flaky and so incredibly light. And while it is sweet, the tartness of the apricot balances the sweetness of the sugar. And it's one of the best turnovers I've ever had. I don't think it's been aged,
Thank you,
but it is fairly perfect.
Yeah.
So,
Will, I'm not allowed to make obscene gestures while we're live. So how does it go with the Malbec?
Let's see. So, you know, actually, I'm getting some odd nose. I'm still getting that kind of funky
nose hair.
nose hair, a little funk. I
No,
don't know. I actually like the 12 a little better.
Well, the 9.
I love the tannins, and once you get past the nose a bit, at least mine, no one else seems to experience this. You know, it's wonderfully full bodied. I think it's very balanced. It just I don't know. It just didn't hold the fascination of young Nicholas and his weapon of choice there.
They do.
But, no, I mean, it's lovely. It's lovely. It's
You brought a sword to a wine fight.
yes.
anyway, that's not very helpful. I'm sorry, but it's just
No, it is helpful, Robert, because I commented earlier, you know, I opened this 09 late. It really could benefit for about 2 hours of decant time.
okay.
And I started getting some almost cabbage edge notes to it.
Yeah, there you go.
Not uncommon for a wine that's been in bottle for a decade plus.
Okay.
It's in a very reductive atmosphere in that bottle. And so you get those little reductive notes, almost the fartiness or cabbage-like notes to it. Those blow off as soon as that air starts to incorporate into the wine, those funky notes. And this is what I think turns people off about vintage wine. They'll open an old bottle, they'll smell it, and they'll be like, oh, it's going to taste like nothing good. And the problem is understanding how much decaf time we need.
Right.
So-
So, it's not, it seems like, I also like it. It doesn't taste hot. It's the alcohol. What would be the alcohol on this?
13.4.
Which
Yep.
it tastes less than that, but I mean, it's wonderful. Once you get past the cabbage.
So speaking of which, Nolan, Nicholas, how do you guys feel about the fartiness in this wine? Get the fartiness in it? Yes. And do you want to try a finger? You want a finger?
Finger full of.
I'll take a finger.
Take a finger. You get any fartiness?
Good.
Good. Okay.
Good. Thumbs up. That's awesome.
Grape juice.
Exactly.
Early bedtime.
Okay. No, not quite. Come on. They still have worlds to conquer. So we're getting to that point of food pairing. Besides pastries, Carolyn, what would you pair with one of these wines?
Well, I think the 12, I really like a Parmesan Reggiano, just something with some salt and just a real flavor surge.
Mm-hmm.
The 17, it's so bright. It could pair with, I don't know, like a pork tenderloin.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of comes to, so, and probably another kind of turnover. I mean, almost anything can pair with
Blueberry.
one of my
Blueberry
turnovers.
turnover.
What about
Blueberry turnover,
what about a cherry turnover?
our cherry. There you go.
The 17.
Okay. So,
Okay, I think we should probably ask Will, pick a wine and a dish. Which of these 3 wines and a dish to pair?
So last night we had my Uncle Robert made a blueberry, what we call a bobbler, but blueberry cobbler. And my father had some of your 17 Canada Cab with it. I think the 17 Malbec would be beautiful with that blueberry cobbler. And I think the 12 would be great by itself with a cheese tray. I was thinking blue cheese, but I agree with you that a Parmesan would be great. But in my mind, that goes to cheese. When we were in Argentina, once you get there, everything is super inexpensive, and you could have an amazing grass-fed beef steak and a giant bottle of really good Argentine Malbec for almost nothing. And I would love to have this 12 with just a big New York strip and a cheese tray before it. I think they'd be both beautiful. The 9 is delicate, and it has fruit, but it has all of the leather and umami and old Bordeaux notes that I'm used to trying at dinners with my parents. And I feel like a mushroom tart with that 09 would just be phenomenal. So,
Ooh, that sounds good. Yeah.
That does sound good.
Thank you, Rob.
Hey, Robert.
With the 12, a grilled flat iron steak. Which
Okay.
would be, I think would be wonderful. And with the, I think actually, with the 17, I don't know. We had some grilled salmon earlier in the week that would, I think, be a really good match. And I think the 09, boy, I like Carolyn's idea of a nice cheesy Italian pasta dish, which would be, I think, would be good.
What about a deep dish pizza?
Now you're talking, my friend. We can take care of you. I can have Lou Malnati send you some of the finest deep dish pizza anywhere in the world.
Well, here's a secret.
I mean,
Jody and I are going to try to make it to Chicago before harvest.
wait, I'm having a heart attack. I'm sorry. I'm having a heart attack. I'll be okay. Don't worry about it.
that's that whole egg that got stuck there.
Yeah. All right, Doc, what do you think?
That's enough
Wine and food.
I'm just remembering that when we were in Argentina, and one of the wineries invited us to lunch, which was nice of them. And when we got there was a mound of coals about maybe 10 feet across, 8 feet, and about 3 feet high. From a fire that was started, fires that started last the night before, and in various places and pots in this mound of coals. One place there was a big iron pot full of provolone cheese with olive oil that was there. And so you had a plate and they dipped some out, and then you had some of that with Malbec, and that's the ultimate deep dish pizza. That's really
right.
But and then they had all kinds of sausage, all the kind of spicy food that they eat in Argentina, and cooking various places in this mound of coals, and it was just an amazing. I've never had the experience like it, never seen one like that. Great.
So 2 thoughts on that Argentine trip.
You missed lunch. You all went shopping.
No, we wandered around Buenos Aires, but the first night we met with a winemaker and a vineyard, and they took us. They said, we'd like to take you out to the best restaurant in Mendoza. It was a place called Francis Mallman's, and we had this amazing meal. And we had empanadas, beef empanadas with beef and mushroom empanadas with their Malbec, and it was unbelievable.
Oh, I
And we had
bet.
this amazing meal, and he had to leave. He left all the wine, and we stayed and closed the place down. And the next night, we were having dinner with a different winery and a different winemaker, and he met with us and said, "Have you been to Francis Mallman's?" We're like, no, we would love to try that. So we went back for a second night and had empanadas with Argentine Malbec, and so they were mushroom and beef empanadas. They were beautiful. And on the second to last day, we went out to, God, I don't remember which winery it was, but it was way out. We drove probably 3 hours out into the countryside, and we had a beautiful, wonderful tour, and they showed us the winery and the facilities and everything. They said, "We'd love to have you for lunch," and we graciously and
Catena.
happily accepted. And they said, "We just shot, we shot this wild boar on the property a couple of days ago. We're going to serve that." And I sat down with my wife, and we were relatively newlyweds, and I got this beautiful plate of beef tenderloin, and she got a plate entirely of fat. And so to show how much I loved her then and love her now, I switched plates with her and just drank the wine. And she had a lovely lunch. So it's great with wild boars, all I'll say. Or my wife says it was. So.
Right on. Okay, Joe. Yep.
Okay, I've got 3. Nolan, what's your food pairing?
Chocolate cake.
Oh, hell yes.
Nicholas, what's your food pairing?
Strawberry.
And my food pairing is going to be that amazing braised short rib that Jason Dady made last night.
Oh, wild boar right there. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with that 12.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to redo that dinner with him and pair it with these older wines.
I agree.
Can Dylan shoot a wild boar? Can we do this?
Dylan can shoot
Yeah.
anything.
Dylan would be happy to do that.
I have the great good fortune of teaching at a school with 2 very brilliant English teachers, Mark Hallam and John Heavey, and they're both wine club members, and they love, John, your Malbecs, and both your 2017 Malbec and your 2017 Reserve. They absolutely love. I don't think they've ever had the 12, so I'm very excited. I'm going to take them both a bottle of
Tell
the
them
12.
in honor of their hard work, the next bottle descriptor on the back label, I'm going to end a sentence with a preposition.
If you like a poem, they can do that, which might be better.
Split an infinitive.
Brilliant writers and brilliant teachers of writing. So I'm very lucky.
Right on. Okay, so Bobby, we have not heard a food pairing from you.
Oh, I personally was thinking stuffed bell peppers.
Ooh, yeah.
Roasted bell peppers stuffed with like
Stuffed
quinoa and mushrooms and like a nice cheese.
Yeah.
I'm just that's kind of where my mind's going to with these. So that's kind of, I was like, oh my gosh, stuffed peppers would be amazing with this.
Yes. Oh, I think you're right. I think it would be. Absolutely. So what, to change tracks just briefly, Doc, you wanted to do a comparison on the 09 and the 17?
Boy, that's hard. I think the blend is different than 17.
Mhm.
I think the 09 is mainly Malbec.
So's the 17.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 90,
This gives you
98%.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think the 17 is going to be, if we can taste it 10 years from now, we'd be way ahead of this curve. So it'd be fun to taste it.
I think it will be. Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're probably going in very similar directions, is what I'm saying.
Just keep tasting the 12 now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So somebody just said they're having the 17 with homemade duck prosciutto. So,
Ooh,
Wow.
Are they in North Carolina?
no, unfortunately.
I'm available.
No. Okay, Bobby, what's online for next week, sir?
Next week, it looks like we have the 2018 Reserve Viognier, our new release of the 2019 Reserve Tempranillo,
Mhm.
and then the 2017 Canada Family Cab.
Right on.
Whoosh.
That's going to be a great lineup. I'm really
That's a
looking
good
forward to it.
lineup, you bet.
Yeah,
It's hard to beat.
been in bottle for about 6 months now, so it should be good.
Yeah.
And John, I want to say that, because our beginning was delayed, just remember how much all of us acknowledge all of the wonderful work that's been done by people fighting this pandemic. And that's what this is about.
Mhm.
And so it's wonderful to be able to sit and taste the fruits of all of our labor. And yet we want to remember all the people who've struggled so hard against so much disease in our country and around the world.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And we cannot blink on this issue.
No, my sister-in-law is an ER nurse at Scripps Memorial in San Diego. And since February of last year, she's been in the COVID ICU working. So I've been keeping her well supplied.
That's the right thing to do, John.
And you should.
Yeah,
Apparently should.
absolutely. I know it's hard to believe in an Irish family we'd have nurses.
I think, on the PBS NewsHour last week, the number is 3,600 healthcare workers that have died during the pandemic. And, I think it's everything we're saying. This is thinking about them, thinking about friends that are still fighting, and just trying to have a moment away from all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And John, I want to say to your sister that the Irish nurses in Boston City Hospital taught me what it means to be a doctor.
Mhm.
But I say that totally seriously. No humor, that they were wonderful teachers.
Yeah, they are. And my grandmother was also an Irish nurse who figured if the roads were too busy, she could drive on the sidewalks. So
She and Churchill. Yeah, Churchill was a great sidewalk.
That sounds like Main Street Fredericksburg.
Anyway,
no small car when you got a
right. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody. Thank you, Becker family, for joining us. It's awesome.
Thank you, John.
Carolyn,
John, cheers. Thank you, man.
Cheers.
always good to see you.
Bobby, thanks, man.
See you next week.
Appreciate it. Okay.
I want to say cheers. Thanks for letting us into your living room for another hour. Another glass of wine. We wish you health and a good glass of wine this week. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Cheers.